Good afternoon and welcome to Stadium MK for today's Sky Bet League One fixture with Doncaster Rovers. We would like to thank our official partners, Suzuki. Right, let's look at some selected stats from both teams. Following last Saturday's superb victory, the Dons are now 15th in the League One table after 3 wins and 2 defeats. With 2 defeats and 2 draws and a single victory in their last 5 games, Rovers sit in 5th place. As the attacking stats show, the Dons have a higher ratio in goals scored, assists, passes completed and attacking duels won. However, in the defensive stats, it's Rovers who come out in top in defensive actions, interceptions, while the Dons just edge it in aerial duels and ball recoveries. Looking at the Dons team stats, Jerome is still the clear leader, though Scott Fraser is now in contention and the talented Will Grigg is also featured. Rovers' top goal scorers are Kina Bire, Whiteman and James close behind. With regards to team news, we'll start with the Dons. Russell Martin has no fresh injury concerns from the side that ran out 2-1 winners over Burton Albion last Saturday. Charlie Brown was back on the bench after he successfully recovered from a small ankle injury. Both David Kasumo and Ben Gladwin do remain doubtful though. With regards to the Rovers, winger Josh Sims has just returned to parent club Southampton to be assessed after suffering a reoccurrence of the injury which has blighted him in recent weeks. Midfielder John Bostock is poised to return to the squad for today's clash after missing recent matches due to a groin injury.
The new Suzuki Hybrid range. For you, me, her, him, everyone.
Doncaster Rovers were founded in 1879 and turned professional in 1885. Doncaster have spent the majority of their playing history between the 3rd and 4th tiers of the English Football League system and are one of 4 clubs to win the 4th tier 3 times. The club's original colours were blue and yellow, but since turning professional, they have traditionally worn red and white. Their home strip is a red and white hoops, which has been the main design of the club's home shirt since 2001. The associated Doncaster Rover Bells Ladies Football Club are one of the most successful women's clubs in English football. The former professional Butler started his playing career at Scunthorpe United. He made his debut for the Iron while they competed in the 3rd Division. In 2008, he joined Huddersfield Town on a 3-year deal. Along with 5 other players, he made his Huddersfield debut in a 1-1 draw with Stockport County. Then in June 2014, Butler then signed a 2-year deal with Sheffield United on a free transfer after he rejected an offer from Walsall. In March 2021, Butler was placed in charge of Doncaster Rovers following the departure of Darren Moore. Recent form has been indifferent. The 2-1 win over Plymouth Argyle was followed by a 1-0 loss to Crewe Alexandra. The Rovers then had a 0-0 draw with Northampton before getting thumped 3-0 by Oxford United. And lastly, a 2-2 draw with Gillingham. Born in Redditch, Smith was a youth product of West Brom before moving to the Youth Academy of Manchester City at the age of 14. In July 2018, he moved on loan to FC Twente for the 2018-19 season. Smith moved to Doncaster Rovers in October 2020 on a season-long loan. Coppinger started his career as a trainee for Darlington in 1998. He moved to Newcastle in a £500,000 joint deal with 17-year-old Paul Robinson in March 1998, when Kenny Dalglish was manager. Coppinger was bought by Doncaster manager Dave Penny for a reported £30,000 in May 2004. On the 6th of March 2021, Coppinger became the first player to reach 600 league appearances for Doncaster Rovers. Rovers' leading goalscorer started his career in football with the youth sides of Arsenal and Stevenage, eventually progressing through to the first team of the latter in April 2014. In June 2016, he joined the National League side of Dagenham and Redbridge on a 2-year deal. In 2020, he joined Doncaster Rovers on a 2.5-year deal. The fee was undisclosed, though it's understood to be higher than £75,000. He is a player to watch.
Follow in your heart, in spirit, in soul. You make every tackle, score every goal. You're part of it, wherever you are in the world. From the first minute until the last kick. Victories, heartbreaks. You're part of the fabric, the passion, devotion, supercharging emotion. For you, there is only one. Abiding loyalty, togetherness that is second to none. Follow every kick, every tackle, every goal. With access to live stream games and matchday commentary, with coverage spanning the globe. Behind the scene content, newsletters and match highlights. There is no better way for you to get closer to your club. And with iFollow sales supporting them, there's no better way to show your love. You can't be there with iFollow.
Even first 45 minutes, both teams maintained pressure on their opponents right up until the half-time whistle. After the half-time break, David Martin ensured the Dons remained on level terms when he superbly slipped over a Carl Bennett dip-in effort. Dele Alli then produced a moment of magic on 62 minutes when he sent a powerful volley, inches just over the top. Dean Bodic was introduced on 64 minutes and he made an immediate impact, breaking the deadlock with an element of luck when Mitchell Lund's attempted clearance hit the Dons winger in the face and went in the goal off the post to make it 1-0. Another substitute, Cole Baker, put the Dons 2-0 up on 77 minutes when, after dancing his way past a couple of challenges, he rifled home from close range to mark his return to the team in real style. He then doubled his tally for the night with 5 minutes remaining and an almost carbon copy, receiving the ball from Ali and finishing nicely into the bottom left-hand corner to secure an important 3-0 victory.
Screwfix proudly supports football at home.
We'll start at the beginning of your career. When did you realise football was potentially an avenue you could go down, and when did you start almost playing football and kicking a football around?
Well, I started kicking a football when I was 5, 6, and played locally. Yeah, and never really thought much of it. I just played it for the enjoyment at that age. Like, I don't think anybody really does. Then when I got to the age of 16, 17, I never really had a trial. All my mates who used to play used to get trials most weeks to come over here to England and have a chance. You know, I never really got any. So when I turned 17, I went through my education. I went to college, studying, and kind of put football second really. I was playing for Bows under 19s. I was doing well. I think I got picked for the under 19s qualifiers for Ireland. And from them really, I was kind of like I got drafted into the first team, maybe debut as 17 or 18. And then for them really, I dropped out of college, and I went into it was like we used to call it FOSS. It was like a football FOSS where you play and get paid for it, and you do your education as well. So it was basically full-time football for me. At that stage, really, I was kind of like, I'd probably have a chance here. I always knew my education would be behind me, so if it didn't go wrong, if it didn't go right, I'd just go back to it. I got a scholarship in DIT for 4 years, so I always knew that was behind me, so it kind of gave me that little extra push. So I went from there, really started playing for the first team when I got drafted in. I think I made 10 or 11 appearances, and then got the call from Brighton to come over and have a look and get the deal done.
You mentioned education there, and something you obviously held quite highly as a young player. How important do you think it is for players coming through now to do take their education seriously, just in case football doesn't?
Definitely. I used to tell the youngsters who would ask me, would I change? Would I go when I was younger? Like a few of the boys that I know back at home, and the boys that I know are now back at home. That left at 15, 16 to go to these academies and study over there and drop out of school in Ireland. And they are at home now, with doing whatever they do, playing in the League of Ireland, which isn't the worst. But at that age, you think that, I've made it. I've come across the water and I don't need my education. Whereas I was different, and I'm kind of lucky for it. And it doesn't sound lucky, but I never got a look in until I was 17, 18, and I'm really, really happy for that, because I went through all my education, and it is very important. Even football is a weird game, you can pick up an injury, and next of all you're not going to be playing for a while. And it's probably something that few players should be looking into now, especially at my age. And me myself, I should start looking back into it as well. But it's very important, especially for an international lad coming over. Because you never know what's going to happen, and look, I've done it. I'm happy where I have my qualifications that I need, and I'd probably start looking in further for it.
You mentioned your debut there, coming on against St Pat's for the last 15 minutes, I think it was. Were you nervous as a 17-year-old in that game?
I actually don't think I was. I think I've been on the bench a long time, waiting for it. I think one of the players got injured and I had to come on, and that team back then was amazing. The lads in it, they were so good. And I had the captain, Detza, he was unbelievable for me on that day. Just settling the nerves, and I had Shane Supple in goal behind me, who played in England and Ipswich for years. That was really the start. 15 minutes away to Pats in Richmond, and I think the next game then I made my full debut against Sligo at home, and we won 2-0 and had a clean sheet, so I couldn't really ask for a better start.
I think it was your fourth start was against Shamrock Rovers in one of the biggest derbies in Ireland. What was that like? What was the atmosphere like for you? I imagine you'd always watch them on TV growing up, so to play them on must have been unreal.
So most of them weren't on TV, so I used to have to go to them. So I used to go to the games to watch them. That was crazy when I heard the news that I'd be starting. That was amazing, because obviously going from a fan sitting in the stands and as a young player playing for them, and then next fall you're on the biggest stage, and you can imagine what a derby is like. It's kind of a bit hostile and the atmosphere is up, and it was just a good experience. Obviously I was very nervous for that game. I think I was 17, 18 going into that game. But look, I think we won that game 2-1. I think Izzy Akinadi scored a cracker, I think, and has a famous celebration in Ireland of running over to the crowd. So yeah, that was a surreal experience.
And obviously with Bowes you got your call up to the Ireland under-18s. That must have been such a proud moment for you and your family, and to score in your debut as well. I imagine that's really what dreams are made of.
Yeah, I think we went Slovakia, and yeah, I played a tournament over there. Jim Crawford, who's the 21s manager now, he brought me over, and yeah, I think I scored against Czech Republic if I remember correctly. But yeah, that was big achievement for me, coming from where I come, and obviously the educational part was coming first at that stage. So yeah, me and my family are very happy for that, and obviously the score was just a little bit extra on the top.
Near the end of Bowes' career then you pick up the Young Player of the Season award. I imagine it's an award that you hold in high regard even now in your career.
Definitely, yeah, and it's an award that my ma still has up on the mantelpiece back in Dublin. So yeah, she still has that up. But yeah, of course, like it's just like a little bit extra at the end of the season where I didn't even expect to play, and then at the end, last game, I'm picking up an award in front of all the fans in Dalymount. It has been great ever since I've been there, and yeah, like I still have the award, still have memories of it. I'll never forget that moment.
We'll fast forward a few years to the present day and MK Dons, just how much you're enjoying your time here. You moved into a house in the area, so you must really be looking forward to when restrictions open up, fans can come back and you can really start to look around Milton Keynes as a city. Yeah,
definitely. Like you said, I'm moving up because I really enjoy it here. And yeah, it's kind of a pity that we can't really experience it all if that's the right way to put it, like with the fans and the whole area in general being closed down, well, most of it, which is kind of a bit of a pity, but I'm definitely looking forward to it, and that's why I've committed to this club. I've committed to me moving up, and starting my life up here as well. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Can't wait for the fans to get back. It's probably looking like next season. Please God, hopefully everything goes well, and yeah, just looking forward to that.
Nice one, what's up?
Cheers, Cal.
Brioche Pasty, Baking Life Special.
Hello and welcome to this weekend's fixture, MK Dons versus Doncaster Rovers. Doncaster Rovers will be making the 400-kilometre trip for a really important match for both teams. They currently sit in a playoff position with 3 games on hand on top of the table, Hull. Meanwhile, MK Dons are in a rich vein of a form, having won their last 3 fixtures and are now looking up the table towards the teams just above them. Do you fancy testing your MK Dons knowledge? Play along at home and see how many you can get right. You have 10 seconds to answer each question. Your time starts now. This picture is made up of 3 players, but which 3? How did you do? It's David Kasumu, Will Grigg and Cameron Jerome. Can you identify this player? It's of course Andrew Fisher. We'll hear a bit more from him in a moment. And last one, who recently played their 800th match in an MK Dons shirt? That's right, it's our captain Dean Livington. Not many players in the history of the game have played so many games for one club. How well did you do? If you've got all 3 right, well done. If you didn't, don't worry, practice makes perfect. This week, goalkeeper Andrew Fisher joins us in the hot seat, and here is what he has to say. Who, in your opinion, is the greatest goalkeeper of all time and why?
I'd go with Edwin van der Sar. when I was younger, he was always someone I looked up to just because of his shot-stopping ability and the way he organised his team.
Do you have a matchday ritual, and are you superstitious?
No, not one bit.
What would you do if you weren't a footballer?
I don't know, my dad and brother are policemen, so probably go into that sort of role.
You won MK Dons Player of the Month in January. How did that feel?
Very good.
What's been your most memorable save so far this season?
It's got to be the Sunderland one in the last minute, just for the sheer fact it was the last minute and it was to win the game away.
In your opinion, what separates an amazing player from an average player?
Hard work, commitment, dedication, dedication to your health, eating healthy outside of football, looking after your physique.
What do you most enjoy about playing in goal?
Making saves when I can.
If you had to play in any other position, what would it be?
I was always a striker when I was younger. I think everyone knows all the keepers think they can be a good striker, and it's true.
What stadium would you really like to play in?
Probably Old Trafford, just because when I was younger I was a big United fan.
What do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
At the moment in lockdown it's just Xbox, FIFA, Call of Duty, but when the sun's out and you can get out and stuff, I like to enjoy a bit of golf.
And finally, what advice do you have for any young goalkeepers out there?
Listen to your coach, taking information from other goalkeepers you think who are good, taking what you think will help you, and just keep working hard, grinding away and put in the work.
Thank you, Andrew. Some really good advice there. Thank you to those of you who have entered our competition to name the stadium's Peregrine Falcons. We'll be selecting our winner next Saturday, so there's still time to win an MK Dons goodie bag. Suggestions so far include Wilson and Perry, Shoot and Score, Russell and Martin, Perry and Terry, Tom and Emily, Annie and Dave, Bolt and Daly. No doubt that's a reference to Usain Bolt and Tom Daly. To enter, email mui@mkdons.com. Just before I go, MK Dons Sports and Education Trust are running their popular Easter football camps throughout the Easter holidays. If you would like to get involved, check out their website, mkdonsset.com. That's all from me, except to say, come on you Dons!
The new Suzuki Hybrid range. For you, me, her, him, everyone.
Well, Andy, thanks for taking the time to speak to us for this latest edition of the Red Dot. The club announced on Friday, obviously, that the new season ticket campaign for 2021-22, which started off with a thank you message from the football club during a tough time. The season ticket holders have been right behind us, right by us all throughout, and I know the club was quite eager to say thank you, not least with a message, but with the initiative for next season. Can you just give us a bit of an overview of what the club have done and why it was so important to say thank you?
Well, we appreciate it's been such a difficult 12 months for everybody in the country, let alone involved with football. Well,
Andy, thanks for taking the time to speak to us for this latest edition of the Red Dot. The club announced on Friday, obviously, that the new season ticket campaign for 2021-22, which started off with a thank you message from the football club during a tough time. The season ticket holders have been right behind us, right by us all throughout, and I know the club was quite eager to say thank you, not least with a message, but with the initiative for next season. Can you just give us a bit of an overview of what the club have done and why it was so important to say thank you?
Well, we appreciate it's been such a difficult 12 months for everybody in the country, let alone involved with football. And our supporters have been fantastic during the last 12 months, absolutely outstanding in the show of support, both at the end of last season and then into this season. We had a large number, in hope, took a season ticket out for the 2021 season, and of course that's been curtailed, and we appealed to people in October with a range of offers, a range of options for them, which would obviously depend on individual circumstances. And we were just simply bowled over the fact that more than 3,000 of our season ticket holders chose to financially support the football club financially by leaving all their money with the club, or taking a small proportion back for themselves and taking advantage of iFollow at the £230 equivalent for the season. So it's been absolutely amazing, and we now have to start to look at what's going to happen for 21-22. There is so much uncertainty about next season, and it's been very, very difficult to fashion a season ticket campaign this early. But one of the things we do is we have a 12-month interest-free, easy payment direct debit scheme, which enables families, individual supporters, to actually afford to come to football. And the problem is, if we wait and wait and wait, then the 12 months becomes 8 months. It might become 9, it might become 6 or 7 until we can actually put things in place. So we were very, very conscious of that, and we want to make sure that this is a one-off year, we hope, and going forward we can revert to some degree of normality as the country gets back to normal, and we've got something in place which will be a benefit to everybody as we seek to re-establish our support and take the football club forward into a much bolder and brighter future.
Obviously 230 is the headline figure, a dramatic reduction on last season, dramatic reduction on what it's been for a number of years now. Can you talk about how we got to that number of 230 and why it was so important? We'll talk a bit later about the financial impact of it, but why it was so important to give people the certainty that £230 gives them.
Well, £230 is quite simple to answer, why that particular price point, because of course that equates to the cost of taking out an iFollow subscription this year, £10 a game, 23 games, £230. But there are, whilst the government has published a roadmap out of lockdown, and we're talking about potentially all restrictions being relaxed after the 21st of January, but there are several caveats to that, and the caveats will be is that these 4 steps are going to be reviewed based on the success of the previous step, which means things could get back a little, push back a little bit later. We've then got the situation in terms of what's going to happen for next season, because yes, we may be able to kick off the season on the 7th of August next year in front of crowds, but will we be operating in a socially distanced manner? Will you be able to sit in the same seat as you've always been able to sit in? Will you be able to sit next to your extended family or your friends in the same way as you've done before? Could we? We hope not, but we could see another outbreak, and we could see football for next season played behind closed doors for a small period again. These are all the questions as a football club we can't give answers to, and quite simply at the moment I don't think anybody can give an answer to that. But what we do know is, should we end up in that situation where supporters cannot come and watch football for next season for a shortened period or whatever happens, then we know that the likelihood is we can revert back to the iFollow stream. So either way, we don't have to get into this situation potentially of asking everybody again to leave their money with the club. They've got the live football, or they've got their iFollow, which is obviously priced at £10 a game, which is what this season ticket's going to be, £10 per game. So it sort of made sense to do it that way. I'm very, very conscious as well that if you look at different areas of the ground, we have different areas of pricing. Obviously we have a premium if you sit in East Centre, and a further premium if you sit in Club Red. But again, will the ballroom be available for all Club Red season ticket holders next season? Again, we don't know. There may be restrictions on capacity because it's an indoor area. So if we've got 700, 800 season ticket holders in Club Red and only a couple of hundred of them allowed in the ballroom to comply with public health restrictions, then we've got an issue there. So the simplest way was, we may have to move you around the stadium. Hopefully we won't have to, but we may have to do that. So one price across the board seemed the right thing to do.
You mentioned earlier the 3,000 season ticket holders that were able to financially support the football club through this. Unfortunately, there are people who just haven't been in that position to be able to do so. It's been a tough time for a lot of people, especially financially through this coronavirus pandemic. But this £230 season ticket hopefully gives those the opportunity to come back at a much more affordable price. And I know the club's quite keen to see every season ticket holder who was here for the Doncaster game before this happened return as season ticket holders next season.
Exactly that, and we've always been absolutely emphatic that people had to choose the right option that was correct for their own financial circumstances, and a number of people have lost their jobs. Family income has been restricted, and for some people it's just not been possible to do that, and that is absolutely the right thing to do, to chosen the right option to suit your own financial circumstances. But again, we hope the £230, they can benefit from that as well, and they will be able to consider, hopefully their circumstances will now start to change as the country comes out of lockdown, and the economy starts to have a little bit of a resurgence and a bounce back, and that might mean that this reduced price will mean that they can actually afford a season ticket for next season at the price of £19.17 a month or £10 a game. So that's something exciting, because we've got to reboot. As I said, we had 4,500 season ticket holders who were here against Doncaster last season, and if we can get back to 4,500 season ticket holders, obviously with this reduced price we're going to have round about a £250,000 hit. So again, it's about encouraging those people back, and hopefully friends and family of existing season ticket holders will look at this as a really, really good deal for next season, and our current season ticket holders may be able to encourage a few more, which will help close that gap, that deficit for next season, which we're going to take on the chin, because we think it's exactly the right thing to do, because we will still want to build support at this football club. We want to reboot, we want to re-establish things, and as I said, it's all about looking ahead to next season and making sure that we can offer our manager, offer the football club the best support we possibly can to make a sustained challenge for promotion next season, and looking beyond that as well.
I want to touch a little bit more on the financials if I can. You mentioned there that the hit the club's going to take possibly through this, and with the reduced prices, and football finances have always been under the scrutiny, but no more so than this year. And as a football club, yourself and Pete have talked about how strong we hope to come through this, and I think we've seen with the investment the club's made in January, in terms of rebuilding Russell Martin's first team squad. I think it kind of highlights where we're at as a club, and I think this is another show of strength. I'd imagine that the club is able to kind of take this hit into next year with the long-term view in mind. And let's be honest, when we were sitting here this time last year, we didn't know if we would have a long-term view in mind.
No, and I think every football club's faced the same stresses and strains, and we've been relatively fortunate in that some of our businesses have been able to trade, particularly the hotel, through the matchroom events, which we're extremely grateful that happened. But even then, the hotel income, the meeting income is incredibly down, and our turnover has been hit by millions this year. Just on top of what we've lost through having no casual supporters in the game, by having no matchday sponsors. Obviously retail's took a bit of a hit as well because the shop's been closed. So all in all, everybody has played their part in this. Our supporters, our season ticket holders who left for basically what was just over £400,000 with the football club. We were able to get our share of a bailout from the Premier League, which was just over £500,000, and we're extremely grateful for the Premier League for supporting clubs in Leagues 1 and 2. And of course there's been the player trading, and without it we would have been in significant difficulty. But whilst we done the trading. We've seen players like Alex Gilbey and Rhys Healey, Regan Poole, Richard Keogh, all been sold for fees this year. We haven't just banked all that money. We've reinvested in what we believe are some really, really exciting prospects. We paid fees for compensation fee for Matt O'Reilly, and we paid transfer fees for both Zach Jules and for Harry Darling. So those are things that we need to probably get used to being a little bit of a trading club. There's no hiding from it, but providing we can reinvest, and we sell a gem, yes, but then we're reinvesting to find the next gem. That's very much the way forward, that the football club can trade sustainably. And that's part of what we are now, and I think there's been a recognition from supporters that that's the right thing to do. Like everybody, everybody was really disappointed when Rhys left us, and we all were, within the football club as well as supporters. But we said, we wanted to act, we wanted to, re-engage and bring some players in. And let's not forget, it's just not about transfer fees. We did spend significant money to bring quality players in, like Cameron Jerome and obviously Richard Keogh at the time, and of course Scott Fraser as well. So those are all the things that we are still very, very much committed to in terms of building a really, really exciting squad. Can absolutely build on this season and look forward to next season as well. And again, we'll be looking at what we do over the summer. We've already identified a number of targets that we'd like to bring into the football club. Some of them will be out of contract, and some of them will require compensation fees, and some may require a transfer fee. But let's see what happens. But we're committed to doing what we can to build a strong squad next season, and the difference that people can make by renewing a season ticket and persuading others to buy a season ticket at a very special price will make a huge difference.
So looking ahead then, I know we live in a very uncertain world. You talked about the certainty and giving people confidence. We live in an uncertain world. Things can change quite quickly, not just in football, but in the world at the moment. But there is a real sense of optimism at the moment. The country seems to be in a better place, and there is that real optimism that we will have football fans back here when we start the new season in August. And there's also real optimism here at the football club with the way the first teams operate at the moment, climbing the table, strong performances, real identity back at the football club. And I'd like to think that for the first time in a while, the football club seems to be really heading in the right direction. And with this news about the £230 season ticket, hopefully this can be the start of something really special.
I hope so. I think that's what we're here to do. We're here, our immediate goal is to win promotion to the Championship and make sure that we can then sustain ourselves in the Championship and look forward to where we can go to from there. That's what we're about. And we want Milton Keynes to be proud of the football club as equally in the same way as we're proud of Milton Keynes. And there is so much at the moment which is really, really good to come out of this. So it is a time, I think, as we come out to look forward, not look back. We're incredibly excited about the future. I think that's a feeling and sentiment that's shared amongst a lot of supporters as well, that certainly I speak to. But we've got to deliver. And this is one of the ways, one of the small ways forward that we've got to take people with us. We need people to have the confidence to come back next season, renew for a season ticket now, given that there's still so much uncertainty. And I totally get that people, all the questions I set out at the start of this interview in terms of, I can't give answers to, can I sit in my usual seat? If I'm a Club Red season ticket holder, will I be able to sit behind the dugouts where I normally sit? And I can't give honest answers to those. None of us in the football club can, because we're going to be governed by external influences, and that's what the government says, it's what public health says, it's what the local authority says we can do, what the SAG, the Safety Advisory Group, says we can do. All those are components which will determine. But I'm really, really confident we're going to have supporters back here on the 7th of August. It may be with a restricted capacity, but I'm relatively hopeful that we can have, every season ticket holder will be with us on the 7th of August. Whether we'll have away fans, whether we'll have a restricted number of casual tickets, which, by the way, will be priced very much as they have been in previous years, which gives the season ticket extra value, at £10 a game for a season ticket as opposed to over £20 for a casual ticket. If you're an adult, it's going to be incredibly important.
We've spoken about the adult price of £230. I don't want to forget that we've got plenty of other supporters, those in the senior categories, those in the under 18s, under 25s and under 12s, of course. And can you talk about their value? The highlight obviously being that under 12s go free will continue as it has done for the last few years here.
Yeah, all the usual things will continue. Under 12s can come free. That's up to for under-12s with an adult paying adult can come 3, and for our concessions, what we've done there, again, because we can't guarantee where people will be seated in the stadium, we're going to go in at the lowest concession point, which is £186. Doesn't matter whether you're a family area senior or you're a club red senior, everybody will pay the same price, because you may have to be seated in the same stand. For an under 25, it's going to be £126, again the lowest point, and again for an under 18, it will be £30, and the under 12s go free. And most importantly, the ability to spread the payments over 12 months, which is used by 70% of our season ticket holders, will continue for next season. And I think the most important thing I have to say as well is we're very, very conscious of what does this mean for future seasons. And I think it's only fair and right and honest that we say that from the 2022-23 season, i.e. the season after next, then prices would revert back up to normal. But certainly for next season, whilst the uncertainty exists, we want to provide clarity, we want to provide confidence, and we want to provide certainty. So hence, that's why we're doing the prices as we've set out for next season.
Hi everyone, hope you're all safe and well. Just the usual pre-match rambling from me for a home game. Off the back of a brilliant week, to be honest. 3 great wins. Obviously spoke to you before the Plymouth game, so a fantastic win here and performance against Plymouth. The only disappointing thing was to concede a goal, but it was a brilliant goal from 25 plus yards. A really good strike, and probably a goal that I can actually accept conceding compared to some of the ones we've conceded over the course of the season that have been disappointing at times. But really strong performance, and 2 wins that built up nicely for Burton, who were the informed team in the country, apart from Man City, not just in our league, but been on a huge, incredible run really from the bottom of the table. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's done a great job, so we knew it'd be a really tough game, and it was. It proved to be a really tough game, but the guys dug in. After a physically really tough week, we played the same team again for the I think 4th or 5th game, which we haven't done much this season. We haven't had the luxury of doing because of injuries and people needing rest, etc. But they dug in, went to the wheel again, and were brilliant. Really had to defend and dig deep in the last 20 minutes, and we got a win that we deserved. Burton didn't create very much. All the pressure came really late on, to be honest, and the boys stood up to it, showed a lot of character, a lot of grit, and I was really proud for that. So to end a really good week on a great note with another 3 points was fantastic, which after a tough run of fixtures, tough run of results for 4 or 5 games, the players have bounced back incredibly well. So I'm really proud of the group, and it's a sign of how far they've come in terms of their mentality, their intensity, their approach to training. And on training, it's led to the first free week of training we've had for a long time, because there's been so many Saturday, Tuesday games. So we've had a free week, gave the guys some time to recover, but we've worked extremely hard on a few things that we think are going to really help us moving forward to try and improve our performance, and keep working and be consistent with our process, and hopefully we'll get another performance today and an improved one against a really strong side who have been up there for a lot of the season. I think we've had huge amount of change since we played them in the first game of the season. I think we've got 1 player starting today. I hope that doesn't give the team away, but we got 1 player starting today that played in the first game of the season there, which shows how much change we've been through. The transition we've had as a group, as a squad, and how far we've come, hopefully. So it'll be a tough game. A team who really like to play good football, a team who we've enjoyed watching actually when we're analysing them. But as always, especially at Stadium MK, we want to be us. We want to play the way we want to play. We want to try and control as much of the game as possible, and hopefully we can keep building on this really good run of results that we're on, and finish the season as strongly as possible. Because there is still, although people feel we're sitting in the middle of the table with not too much worry at either end, there's still lots to play for. We are trying to build as much momentum and strength as we can, looking ahead to next season. So enjoy the game and take care.
Follow in your heart, in spirit, in soul. You make every tackle, score every goal. You're part of it, wherever you are in the world. From the first minute until the last kick. Victories, heartbreaks, you're part of the fabric. The passion, devotion, supercharging emotion. For you there is only one. Abiding loyalty, togetherness that is second to none. Follow every kick, every tackle, every goal. With access to live stream games and matchday commentary. With coverage spanning the globe. Behind the scene content, newsletters and match highlights. There is no better way for you to get closer to your club. And with iFollow sales supporting them, there's no better way to show your love. When you can't be there with iFollow.